Okay, the octagon in the figure is equiangular, and AB is congruent to AC, meaning right here we've got an isosceles triangle, okay? And what we're trying to find out is what's the measure of this angle right here, ACB. Well, we know that angle because what we know about isosceles triangles is that if you have two sides that are equal in measure, then their opposite base angles are also equal in measure. So we know that right there is congruent, this angle is congruent to this angle. So if we can figure out this, then we unlock the whole thing, right? And in fact, we know something. This is going way back, and this is a good example of how things that you learned in the past don't just disappear and you don't ever need to know them again. Okay, we have an 8-sided figure, and we had this rule that said you take the number of sides and you subtract 2 from it, and then you multiply that whole thing by 180 and you'll find out the total number of degrees. And if you wanted to then say how many degrees in each equal angle, you would divide it up. The number of sides and the number of angles is always going to be the same, so we can divide by n whatever that number is. Okay? And we will take this part, which finds the total degrees in the whole thing. Okay? 2 less than the number of sides is the number of that you need to multiply by 180 to find the total degrees. So this gives you the total degrees. This divides them up equally among all of the angles to find out what each angle measures. And since we know that it's not some random n number in this particular case, but rather 8, because it's an octagon, then by subbing 8 in there and solving it, we can then get to it. So let's keep going. 8 minus 2 is 6, so we've got 6 times 180 all divided by 8. Okay, I'm going to rewrite that up here. 6 divided by 180, or sorry, 6 times 180 all divided by 8. And let's distribute the 6 through, or multiply the 6 times 180, not distribute it through, but multiply it. Okay, 480 and 600, so 1,000, sorry, 800, 1,080 divided by 8. Okay, I'm doing this in my head. 8 goes into 10 once, 2 left over, goes into 28 3 times 535 degrees for every angle here. So this angle is 135 degrees, this angle is 135 degrees, this angle is 135 degrees, all the way around. And most specifically and most importantly, this angle is 135 degrees. And since this forms a linear pair with the yellow angle, then we've got to say the whole 180 degrees, that is the linear pair, take away the 135 degrees that we know the green angle to be, will equal 45 degrees. And so we know that the yellow angle measures 45 degrees. Okay, and since they both measure 45 degrees, that means there's a total of 90 degrees there, and that means that there's 90 degrees left for this one, making this actually a right triangle. They didn't want to know that, but we happen to have figured it out in the course of things. What did they want to know? They just wanted to know simply what is the measure of angle ACB, and that's this yellow angle right here, and we know that it is 45 degrees. So our answer is the measure of angle ACB is equal to 45 degrees.